Welcome to episode 5 of the Golden Ram Buzz podcast with Chris, Damon, and Sal. What's up, Sal? Episode 5, man. Before we talk about the Rams losing the Dallas Cowboys 22-10,
Yeah,
let's talk about...
that still hurts.
Yeah, it hurts. Let's talk about leading up to the game. Dallas Cowboy fans came deep. When I say deep, Sal, I got a line at 5:30 on our side on Century, right? That's where.
Yeah.
And then I parked. Nobody was on our line yet. I walked to Food for Less. The line was from the beginning of the pink lot all the way down to Food for. Looked like people were trying to get in Disneyland for free. The cars were just lined up. What'd you see from your perspective?
Well, I seen the same thing, and for me, I just remember as a longtime diehard Ram fan, it's just frustrating when I see other teams, fans come in and dominate or take over a stadium. But when the Rams were in St. Louis, that never happened. But I'd rather have the Rams out here in LA and have fans come and take over the stadium. I'm an NFL fan. I love the Rams, but to me, as long as you like NFL, you're passionate about your team, it's all good. But plus, every fan has a story, and to me, I've never been bothered by, fans of other teams. But I respect Cowboy fans because same thing with Raider fans. They're loyal no matter what, So they'll be there no matter what their record is, So I respect that. So, the Cowboys are having, some success, so it's all good.
And then they came to the tailgate. The energy was unbelievable. So many people came from Dallas, and they were cool at the tailgate. The DJ was cracked. Big shout to DJ Risque. Farron came down. He's like, his eyes got all big. I said, Farron, I told you. He started shooting the people, and they're loving it. The food was great. The energy was great. The Dallas people, talking to us during the tailgate was off the chain.
I always like.
You could tell there's respect.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the bottom line is but at all your tailgates, you kind of set the tone with being friendly and respectful, and so the fans that fall in are the same way.
Yeah.
So for me, I like talking football no matter what fan you're.
And so many Dallas fans I had never met before hit me up on social media. It's like, hey, we heard about your tailgate. Can we come? I said, yeah, man. One Dallas fan came with like 25 people. Like, this is amazing, man. Food. I said, yeah, food, fun, energy. Like, this is amazing. You got Ram fans, Dallas fans, everybody eating, drinking, the DJs playing music.
Yeah, and everyone was together.
Yeah, everybody was together.
We're all there for football, and no better place to watch a game than SoFi Stadium.
And knowing what I know now, that was the best part of the day. So let's get back to the game. Oh man, the game. So the Rams offensive line is in shambles. Starting third string guards, third string centers. Second play of the game or fourth play of the game. Dallas gets a fumble recovery, returns it all the way back for a touchdown.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that's frustrating because the Rams knew going into that game, you could not, afford to have any turnovers or mistakes. And, the first series the Rams have, that fumble, and, scooped up, that touchdown. The Rams spotted them 9 points before, I always look at the stats and it was crazy because, they had less than 20 yards and they were already up 9-0.
They weren't even, the offense wasn't even on the field.
That's what I'm saying. We were killing them. And finally,
9-0, like, come on. It's like, and then once you get the opposing fans crowd into it, like, it's like, oh, here we go. And it's like,
oh, yeah, they were loud.
They were really loud. I was like, dang. And they're Dallas Cowboy fans around me. My buddies I talked about on the podcast, I saw with Chuck and me, Malik, and then Chuck and George. They're riled up, having fun. Like, oh, you talked about us on the podcast. We're going to talk about you here. I was like, okay.
Well, I don't blame them. I've been doing the same thing.
You have to.
Yeah, my Rams were
Chuck and George.
If my Rams were beating the Cowboys, I'd be talking. Yeah. So I get it. They earned it, so it was all good. But I just think, like going into the season, we knew that, it was going to be tough to replace Andrew Whitworth. And
Von Miller, now you see that because there's no pass rush to help Aaron Donald.
I mean, not to mention Robert Woods. I mean, there's a lot of but offensively, the offensive line tends to be the weakness for the Rams right now. But I mean, if you're going into the season, Thursday night open up the season against Buffalo Bills, I would have at least played some of the offensive line, in the last preseason game. I would have tried to at least develop a little, somewhat of cohesiveness than just throwing them in against the Buffalo Bills in that pass rush. Von Miller ate the Rams up, and right now, hopefully with that players only meeting, that helps out. Yeah, I know the Rams have the guys, but it's just frustrating, and I think for fans, they don't understand. They get, they want the Rams to run the ball, but the Rams tried that.
They can't run the ball.
No, you can't run the ball, and then you're forced to throw the ball.
Yeah,
and when you throw the ball, he's getting sacked. Yeah.
And also, the Rams' 3 losses have been the top 5 or 10 defenses. Buffalo Bill has great defense. Yeah. Niners top defense, and Dallas Cowboys top defense. They haven't given up 20 points throughout all their
they're doing that to everyone.
They're doing that to everybody, and then the Rams have third-string players playing. Michael Parsons is hungry, and
that's one of the things that's why for me I don't panic too much because I already know that the Rams going into the season have the toughest schedule in the NFL.
They're repeating champions.
And we're going through and you add in a couple of injuries and stuff, but everything happens in cycles. I believe that the Rams are going through the tough part of the season now. Once they start getting players back, and they'll have play Carolina, then you get the bye. Once after the bye, you start getting players back, and I think the Rams will get back in the win column and be that team.
Read something to you and see how you react to this. Tutu Atwell got his first reception as a Ram. Can you believe that? It was a deep pass. It was like 54 yards. I was like, wait a minute, is that Tutu Atwell? I was like, ah. And then the crowd was like, oh my God, he got a pass.
That was beautiful. That was a beautiful pass and beautiful reception.
Yes.
But
what happened when they got down?
But why did they continue going to him? I know that, it's hard because, for those deep patterns, you got to hang onto the ball and when you're getting a pass rush. But the Rams have been going up, again, some of the best defensive lines in football now.
Yes. And then
not everybody can rush.
The last couple of days,
couple
of games, they seem like they're allergic to the end zone. They scored 9 points in this game. South.
You're not going to beat anybody with field goals.
The Rams are averaging 9 points a game the last 2 games. Is it time to panic?
No, I don't think it's time to panic, but there is some concerns. But the nice thing is, I think for us Ram fans, we already know that the Rams are going to do everything in their power to win. You got a owner that wants to win, general manager that wants to win, coach that wants to win, and I know that if it's keeping us fans, worked up. Imagine what McVay's going through. I know he wants to win badly, and the Rams will do whatever they need to do to get back.
Who else can step up besides Aaron Donald and Cooper Kupp? Cooper Kupp had that 75-yard touchdown, got the crowd until we're up 10-9, and that was it. You know what I'm saying?
But I think that, and then Tyler Higbee, Cooper Kupp.
That's what we have. Tyler Higbee and Cooper Kupp. So defense could be like, okay, we got a tight end we got to stop, and Cooper Kupp's not a speed receiver. He can catch passes, but he doesn't really have speed that.
Plus
no downfield threat. Allen Robinson, sorry, back of a milk carton.
Exactly. And also he's getting, he's such a big part of the offense right now. Cooper Kupp. you got to make him last, the season.
There's 12 more games.
This guy, as great as he is, former.
You has to step up. And
somebody has to make plays. You can't just rely on the same guy. And I think that. People wonder, why don't the Rams include or get the ball to Allen Robinson? You got to get open, too. You got to create separation. And some of the passes the Rams thrown to him, it was 50-50 balls. That's not, that's not going to help. It's hard to, incorporate him in the offense if you're not, it's hard to even judge him now because really based on what?
Yeah, and then Cooper Rush, he didn't really have a great game for Dallas. He had 100 yards passing.
Right, but that's the frustrating thing about, and I was saying the whole week, Cooper Kupp, he's just playing within his talent.
For Rush?
Yeah, Cooper Rush. He's not trying to do anything that, that's why I think Dak has problems because he's always trying to go above and beyond, trying to create.
He's trying to play for that, the contract. He has contract on Dak has a lot of pressure. Cooper Rush, come on, he's a second string. He has nothing to lose. He was going out there playing freely. But I'm like, how many yards did this guy have? Did he throw? Who got a touchdown? Because they won 22-10. The defense,
Well, the Rams gave up that big run. Remember that?
Yeah, the big run. And then also, Sal.
But also the interceptions, they're hurting the Rams too.
Matthew Stafford has 5 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. In the fourth quarter, he's thrown 4 interceptions in the fourth quarter alone this year. Sal, what needs to be done?
He's such a competitor. He'll never throw anyone under the bus. But you like that one pass when he overthrew the receiver and it was intercepted. Those type of plays hurt the team. It kills momentum. But it looked like he just threw the ball up for grabs, and you can't do that. I know it's frustrating. He's not getting the protection. But, plays like that are just really going to, it really hurts a team. And right now the Rams, the Bengals are struggling also. Both,
yeah,
you know,
lost that to the Super Bowl that met.
Yeah. So you're
both are struggling.
Yeah, you always hear about the, you know, Super Bowl hangover. So it is real, but the Rams got to fight through it. But you can't become desperate. You still have to play within your means, and the Rams have a lot of talent, a lot of players that, you know, should be able to step up, but you can't. You know, one reporter was asking McVay about the disconnect, and he said, well, there's no disconnect. There is. If you're talking to your team, you're addressing your team, you tell them what needs to be done, and then you go out and play the same way the following week. There is a disconnect. You're not understanding, or there's no sense of urgency. So I understand that question. But for the Rams, you know, when we went into the season, there was a couple of, you know, weaknesses that we knew about. And, you know, unfortunately, it's just they're coming back to haunt the Rams now.
And then who else had? Did Dave Edwards suffer a second concussion?
Yeah, he's in
concussion protocol.
Second.
So I wouldn't even play him till the bye. Just play him October 30th. Let him rest. This game coming up against the Panthers.
I mean, that's sad though. Yes. As young as he is,
yes,
to have two in what, like 3 weeks? Yeah.
So you got to just sit them out for at least 3 to 4 weeks and just let them.
Yeah, that's frustrating. But you know, it becomes even more difficult because, you know, the Rams have to win some games, but not at the expense of you know, having a player hurt. And
now the Rams' next 3 games are against the Carolina Panthers. Then you got to bye Niners and Tampa Bay. Let's talk about the game coming up against the Carolina Panthers. Mm-hmm. They fired their coach, Matt Rule. they got Baker Mayfield's out. Sam Darnold's out. Mm-hmm. They got PJ Walker. Is this a get back game? Or what do you think about that? Because last time I remember a game like this happening, the Jets coming to town. Oh, the Rams. So what do you think about that coming up?
That's going to be kind of interesting. But no game is a gimme. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've seen PJ Walker play, you know, in the other league, and I mean, he can scramble, he can, you know, create some plays, but the Rams just have to be disciplined and just play within your means. Right now, that team's down, and the Rams have to take advantage of it. We have to get back to 500.
We have to win this game.
Yeah, we could be 3-3, and then go into a bye, and, you know, you get some players back, and you're ready to go.
Because I think once we get those,
and then once you come out of the bye, you know who they're going to play next, right?
The Niners.
And the Niners, I mean, those fans are, and the, you know, I remember when I was a kid, and also it used to drive me crazy. You know, they had Randy Cross, all these great Niner, you know, offensive linemen. They used to say, you know, I wish I could play the Rams every Sunday. They said, you know what, I hate the Rams and I love beating them. So for me, every time they play the Niners, it's just, us Ram fans are so frustrated because we want a win. I mean, 7 regular season losses in a row. That's unbelievable.
It's terrible.
So the Rams have to find a way, but imagine, you know, the Rams are 3-3 at the bye, and then after the bye come out and beat the Niners. Then you're 4-3.
And go to Tampa Bay.
Yeah, and Tampa Bay, I'm more worried about the Niners than Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I am too, because Niners are just like physical to me, and like people hate on Jimmy G, but he wins, so you can't get mad at him. He doesn't do like he wins. Like
all us Ram fans knew about Jimmy G. We wanted him gone.
Yeah, I wanted him gone too.
Yeah, I wanted Trey Lance to be the starter. I thought that we could jump on them with Trey Lance.
Yeah,
and give us at least 2 more years of dominating that division.
And our division still, I mean, we're 1 game back. We just have to win the games. Niners are 3-2. We're 2-3. Seattle's are 3-2 as well. Cardinals are the Cardinals. The toughest division I see, the NFC East. Speaking of the NFC East.
Yeah, definitely. A physical division.
Eagles are 5-0 or 4-0, I believe.
Yeah, 4-0.
Giants are 4-1. Cowboys 4-1. The Commanders are last place. But the surprise game of the week was when in London, the Giants beat the Packers 27-22.
Isn't that crazy?
Do you think Brian Daboll's a Coach of the Year favorite? Do you think anybody had the Giants? Do you think anybody had the Giants starting off 4-1?
No, I think he would definitely right now. I would say he's probably considered Coach of the Year. But you know, I think the NFL, you know, there was a trend like the Rams, you know, never really played their starters, and so I think a lot of teams started doing that where they didn't play their starters. Now, when you watch this season, it looks like a lot of teams are playing bad football. That's why I'm not panicking, because there's a lot of teams that are struggling right now. These records are going to look different in the second and third half of the season.
I think the Eagles are for real, though, man.
Well, the Eagles,
the Eagles are for real.
Well, the Eagles are, but you know they're giving up a lot of points too.
But yeah.
And so you have to have a defense that can shut people down.
Yeah, but the NFC last year was terrible. This year it's like, and people are like, they haven't played anybody. You play who's on your schedule. Mm-hmm. You got to win those games on your schedule, because if the Eagles are 0-5, we'd be talking bad about them.
But in all fairness, people were they were talking about the Eagles before the season even started. Yeah, so a lot of times the media will jump on one team.
That's what they
and then, they jumped on
Buffalo
Bills. Yeah, Buffalo Bills and the Eagles. Those are the two teams. That's the Super Bowl matchup. So they do that. So I kind of expected that. But the Eagles are a good team, no doubt about it. But those teams they'll beat each other up in that division because they're all physical. But I wouldn't rule out anything. I think the Rams are in good shape. We'll make our run, definitely.
Speaking of SoFi Stadium, our Renters escaped Cleveland with a 30-28 win. Brandon Staley goes for it on 4th down. He went from it on 4th down on his own 46-yard line. What do you think about that? That's crazy. Like, I
always tell people, you could go for it on 4th down, but they have to be calculated risks. There's been games when he's gone for it like 3-4 times in a game. That's
against
too
KC
much.
last year. What's going on?
And it cost him the
division. Yes.
And so I just think that, you just got to be smarter than that. I love aggressive coaches, but you also have to be smart about it too. And I think that sometimes he gets ahead of himself and he wants to win so badly that he puts a team in tough positions.
And even his own player, Kenny, I was like, what the F is going on here? Why are you going to do this? They won because the Cleveland kicker missed the field goal, but man, that would backfire. You got to stop being a gambler like that. I can see you at the 2-yard, just relax. Like your team is one game behind KC, and they're a tough division.
Sure.
Everybody thought that division was going to be tough. It looks like KC and the Chargers are going to come down to it because Russell Wilson looks terrible. The Raiders went to that later.
There's a lot of football that needs to be played, but you can't win. Like, it was funny when the Broncos were playing, and they went for that lengthy field goal. What was it, like 65 yards, 67 yards, or something? And so they went for it they went for the field goal instead of going for it on 4th down. And then when they played on that Thursday night, I believe, when they went for they went for it. And Russell Wilson missed a wide open wide receiver, right? Yeah. And so everyone was mad. Why did they just go for the field goal and tie it? You want to win. I'd rather be aggressive. Now, those type of situations where you go for it on that type of play, that makes sense. But either way, but the coach lost both games. So fans fans jump on them. And it's the same thing with, like, for the Rams. I mean, the Rams' offensive line, everyone knows is struggling.
Yeah, struggling. We're down there right there. They're about to call me in a minute. Hey,
exactly, man. So the Rams' offensive line is struggling. And then, they try and run the ball, and we don't gain much. We haven't had a running game. Think about it. Like, in the playoffs the last time, against the 49ers in NFC Championship, we weren't running the ball very well. We won a Super Bowl without, really having a dominant running game. And we went into the season making that a priority. And you see now that, we look exactly like we did last year. We have to have a dominant running game.
Yeah, they released Jake Funk today, and so
I knew that was going to happen.
Yeah,
I knew that. But also when you picked up, they picked up Malcolm Brown, and that's an improvement. But he's a veteran. But I don't know, for some reason, the running game just isn't clicking.
And you said Cam Akers going to get 1,000 yards. Will he get 500 yards this season now? At this rate, he may not get 200 yards.
That's what I was going to say. At the beginning of the season, he was in, it seemed like he was in Coach McVay's doghouse, and he hasn't done anything to...
He has to get out the doghouse. McVay needs to give him some balls.
But I heard McVay say that he kind of missed the hole, too. And sometimes you see that when you see the...
film and practicing and all that.
Yeah, you got to hit the hole. But I don't know, you never know really about a player's, makeup until, you see him in games.
Now, the most controversial game of the week involved, again, Tom Brady. He's always seemed to be in. The Buccaneers beat the Falcons 21-15. Now, I call it the Tua rule. We know the league wants to be careful about the concussion, What the heck was it? You have to sack the quarterback, and then they throw a flag, and that sustains the drive, and the Buccaneers end up winning the game.
That was a terrible call. Everybody was talking about that. And it's so frustrating. How do you even handle situations? These defensive linemen, their hands are tied already. You can't even make a play. It happened again in that Chiefs game.
Yeah, speaking of that, the Chiefs won 30-29, but the Chiefs player got the ball. Derek Carr fumbled. He lands on him, and he gets called for a penalty. I'm like, this is football.
And he got football.
And he got the football. This is not two-hand touch, man. I just don't get it. It was a rough in the passer call, which was BS to me. The Chiefs,
but these are costing players, teams games.
Yes. Speaking of that game, the Raiders were up by 17 points. And wait, where's that camera at? Where's my cat?
Where's the Raiders?
The Raiders were up 17-0, right? And all the Raider fans were like, Damon, you ain't gonna talk about your podcast? No, we got this game. Guess what? I'm here talking about you on my podcast, and you guys lost 30-29. Just win more games, baby. So foul. Okay, they score, right? All they do is kick an extra point. They went for 2. Why? Did you agree with that call?
I didn't, but the one weird thing about the Raiders is they have one victory, but they're a good team.
Okay.
They're able to dominate teams at different times, but they just can't put it all together.
They're a good team. Mm-hmm. What about the coaching?
Well, I think I've never been a big fan, and no one really knew what to expect with, Josh McDaniels. I mean, he coached the Rams, as offensive coordinator. I mean, his offense seems okay, but...
Yes. This is not Tom Brady, though. No. When he coached Denver Broncos.
How about that one play where both Renfro and Adams ran
circus? The Raider fans always get on me, man. You better stop talking. I can only talk about what I see. I'm not lying. Yeah. They're 1-4. They're in last place.
But you can't take it on.
The players run into each other.
Yeah, you can't take it on the cameraman, though. Huh?
The cameraman came out of nowhere. It's always something with the Raiders, man. Like
now, see that where he's
suing the Raiders.
He's suing Adams. Man.
But you don't understand, when they're up 17-0, my text,
especially 17-0 on the road, that's impressive.
Yes, but I told people
they were killing Kansas City.
I told people, relax. The Raiders are going to lose this game. No, we're not. We're up 17. I said, do you understand? Casey was down 20-0 in the playoffs. In the playoffs, to Deshaun Watson wins that. Down another to the Niners Super Bowl, win that. I said, you got one of the best coaches in the game, and one of the best quarterbacks in the game. They're going to adjust. The Raiders have a rookie coach.
Yeah.
So it wasn't hard for me I wasn't nervous one time, so watch what happens. Chris can verify this. I was in a group chat and said, this is what's going to happen. Right. Yes. And then the other people on the Raider fans on my other group chat, no, you don't know what you're talking about. And here I am on the podcast talking about another Raiders loss.
I was listening to it on the radio, and Kurt Warner was talking about that. I mean, he was excited about the Raider offense. The Raiders, they were just killing it. I mean, but it's so hard. I mean, I think right now, but I really do think the Raiders have a good team. They have the players, but they're just, you can't play in spurts. You got to be consistent, and that's the biggest problem. Even for the Rams, I mean, you have to play 4 quarters of football. And you cannot spot, like when the Rams spotted Cowboys, 9 points. I mean, we were in the hole already. That you can't do that and be considered, a top team. We're out of the top 10 now in power ranking, so that kind of hurts.
I'm going to review a couple Week 6 games. We got our rival, 49ers versus the Falcons. Now, the Falcons have been in every game this year and don't really have any stars. Kyle Pitts has been hurt. What do you think your game prediction is going to be? I think the Falcons can.
Falcons are going to compete. Falcons can play. Yeah. It's just so funny because the Rams seem like the only team that struggle with the 49ers. Other teams play 49ers tough. Yeah. Atlanta always gives them a good.
But you got to remember the Niners get up for the extra because the Rams beat the NFC Championship. We beat the Rams. This ain't nothing else, but they get up for the Rams. And they're like, okay, we're playing these teams. It's something I noticed it. Yeah, you're gonna get up for whenever you play somebody within the division, you play them twice.
You're supposed to.
Yes.
But that's what's so frustrating about the Rams is because how come the Rams don't match that? Right? That rivalry for longtime Ram fans, everyone knows. I mean, I remember when the Rams were having a tough season, they would always play the Niners.
Did they lose 18 in a row to the Niners at one time before Kurt Warner, Sean Church beat them? Remember that? Was it something like that?
Yeah, I remember one play. It was funny. It was on a Monday night when Cleveland Gary was running for touchdown, and he fumbled, the ball bounced, and he recovered and ran it in.
Yeah,
I mean, there was some amazing. Yeah, that rivalry is still.
Yeah,
it's still awesome. But I think that. A lot of teams right now are struggling, but I think a lot of teams will turn it around too.
The team that surprised me the most,
now,
the Jets and the Packers meet, and both.
Isn't that amazing?
The Jets, I'm like, wait, what? The Jets have a winning record? Yeah. What, better record than the Rams? What's your prediction on that game, Jets and Packers? Both teams are 3-2.
The Jets are playing good football.
I think Packers win.
It's going to be a good game, but I would probably go with Packers.
Okay. Ravens and the Giants. Ravens play close games a lot. They beat the Bengals.
They do.
They play close games. What do you think about Ravens and the Giants?
I would. I think it'll be a competitive game, but I think Ravens win.
Okay. And then Ooh, Bills and Chiefs, the rematch, 13-second game.
Yeah, that's gonna be a great game.
Women don't like 2-minute man, but I'm sure they like 13-second minute KC.
That game, I say Kansas City wins that game.
Yeah, I think so, because Buffalo's gonna be so amped up, and then KC's gonna be calm and relaxed. And
well, it's funny how like Kansas City is so well coached that even if teams jump out, in front of them and score points, they never panic. They always, they play at the same level all the time. Yeah, and the fourth quarter is when really coaching makes a big deal. And Andy Reid, it's rare you're gonna coach Randy, and Andy Reid. So he just knows what he's doing, and he doesn't get too high or too low for any team. And I think Buffalo is a good team, but to me, there's still there's a couple of games they shouldn't have won, and that's a good thing. And the encouraging thing about like for Rams is that a lot of those games are winnable games. You clean up some stuff, you execute. Those games, could have went the Rams' way also. So.
Sunday Night Football, Cowboys and the Eagles.
See, that's a game.
Super Rush and the Eagles. So we'll see. Like, woo, that's a beat. I call it a beat up game because they're gonna beat each other.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The NFC East is starting to become the NFC East again. So a lot of those teams are going to be physical. They're going to be beating each other up. So that game, I'm going to go with the Eagles.
I am as well. And then the Monday night game at SoFi.
Yeah.
Denver versus Chargers. I got the Chargers winning. We think think Denver scores 10 points? It's kind of funny. Denver and the Rams are playing like the same type of sport.
Yeah.
I think the Chargers win by like 2 touchdowns.
Well, Russ isn't cooking anything.
He's not cooking nothing. It's dry. He ain't using no.
He don't even have no pot or nothing to put in it. He is playing bad football.
Terrible football.
But you know what? He could get hot just enough. I think the Chargers are very beatable, and I think that anything could happen in those divisional games.
Yeah.
But I think the Chargers will win.
I'm going for the Chargers as well.
Yeah.
And then
Chargers will win that game.
And with that, another episode 5 of the Go Around Buzz podcast with Chris, Damon, and Sal. Big shout to Farron Kid once again. The new kid on the block he doesn't even see. Whose house?
Rams house.
Whose house?
Rams.
Yes, sir. See you at SoFi.